Okay.
Shout out
Hi.
NextShark.
Yeah.
Hey, Michelle.
I'm Michelle. Nice to meet you. So, in American Born Chinese, you play the Monkey King, who is also the father of Wei Chen. So, I want to talk specifically about that
Sure,
father and son dynamic.
sure.
So, your character struggles with accepting his son's choices. Now, as a father yourself, what have you learned from portraying Sun Wukong, and how do you balance this desire to pass on your own beliefs or your traditions with giving your child the space to grow, to explore their own identity?
Man, you hit it on the nail there. That's exactly what this character is about. And it's also about a lot about what being a parent is like. Um, and I'm struggling with that now. And I keep having to tell myself sometimes just let go. I have tiger dad tendencies. Um, I don't know how this happened, but I slowly turned into my parents. And so I catch myself saying crap that my parents used to say to me, to my daughter all the time. Um, and I had to catch myself, right? Um, and, it's about finding the balance of that because there is something important about how hard my parents raised me and where I am today. Because I think if my parents didn't push me that hard, I wouldn't be as hard a worker as I am now. And so you want to instill that on your kids, but I also have to remind myself she's only 9 years old. She's got plenty of time, right? So let go, just let go in this moment. But it's hard to see, her fail on homework, or not do well on homework, and not be upset about that, right? Um, and all the things that like I struggle with growing up in, elementary school, middle school, high school, all that kind of stuff. I thought I would never give that pressure to my kids, but I catch myself doing it all the time, right? And so it's about finding that balance of like just enough Asian sternness so that they reach Asian excellence, but at the same time like backing off so they don't freaking hate me for the rest of their life either. So it's a really fine balance. And I think, Monkey King and Wei Chun are also dealing with that balance as well. His son is running amok, but like he did the very same thing, probably to even more of a degree when he was doing the journey to the West, right? And so he was punished many, many times by the gods because he had no parents, right? And so now he's a parent, he's got to deal with this himself. He doesn't like what he sees, but at the same time, he also sees himself in that. And that's probably why he doesn't like it, right? And so he's trying to control that and form his kid to be a better version of himself, but the kid is becoming a version of himself that he has to accept. And I think it's a really cool universal theme that makes the Monkey King's journey in this story much more relatable. Um, and so that's not just he's a mythical god, but he's a father dealing with real world issues that every parent is dealing with at some point, or every kid has dealt with their parents.
Right, right. So, Daniel, nowadays we're seeing a lot more Asian representation in film and TV, but you have been in the industry for decades now, and not
Yeah.
only marketing but also directing and producing. So, can you talk a little bit about this evolution and what changes would you still like to see?
Yeah, I mean, it's changed a whole lot since I grew up in the 70s and 80s America, where you would see like very gross stereotypes of us represented on screen, to now where we get to do a cool show like American Born Chinese. Is we've taken huge steps. And I think it's been been a big change in the past 5 years, where we had, the success of Crazy Rich Asians, where we're able to tell our stories now authentically on screen. And so that's a huge windfall for us because it's so important for the next generation, my kid, the next generation of kids to see that and think, oh, I could do that, or I can become an actor, or I could be a director, I could be a producer. And once we get into that realm where we have, everybody feeling like they can enter this space, then you have a really cool, diverse environment. And that's kind of why I'm working, so hard here to do that, to inspire the next generation to achieve better.
That's great. Yeah, I think you're an inspiration to NextShark, to be honest.
Mm.
So really quickly, with American Born Chinese premiering on AAPI Heritage Month, do you have a message for the AAPI community specifically, and what do you hope they take away from this series?
Well, first of all, I hope they really enjoy the series. I think there's a lot of things and a lot of elements that speak directly to that community. If grew up in a small town where you were the only few Asians there, you're definitely going to relate to this. But even if you didn't, even if you're from, Asia, you're going to relate to a lot of the cool Asian elements in it, like the story of the Monkey King and all that. And so I hope people take away whatever they want to take away from this, because there's so much there. There's so much cool stuff there. And even for the non-Asian audience there, I think it's also important for them to see how universal these themes are. And it's not specific to just our culture, even though there are very specific details to our culture in the story, but that, anybody who's a son or daughter of an immigrant is going to feel this way. How do they fit in? How do they adopt the new culture? And how do they assimilate to where the environment they're living in now, and how to embrace parts of their own culture and make it all their own, and make that, because that's truly what America is about. It's about a mixing pot. It's not about one monolithic culture, but it's about all of us getting together to make this place a better place. And I feel like we've gotten away from that in the past few years, but that is our strength as a country, and we need to get back to that. And I think these kind of shows help reinforce that idea, that we are not as different as we all seem.
You put that perfectly. All right, great. Thank you so
Awesome.
much. And, I hope you have a great rest of your day. It's nice
Thank
to
you.
meet
You
you.
too. All right. Nice meeting you too.